All rise. Welcome to Ms. Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 craziest Judge Judy cases.
And as he was breaking one of the televisions, it fell on your cat and killed it.
Yes. Yes.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. For this list, we're raising our right hands and taking an oath of jaw-dropping proportions. From bizarre lawsuits to questionable plaintiffs and defendants, these are the cases that'll make you go, what? Parties may now be seated. Number 10. You're a moron. Judge Judy can be a bit intense, but there's usually a calm before the storm. Usually.
Now, if you sense a certain harshness in my tone, it's because unless I was reading incorrectly in your answer, you say that 5 years ago, when your daughter was 6 years old, you had a talk with her, and you told her that there was a chance that he wasn't her father.
Right off the bat, you can feel the hostility Judy has towards the defendant. And if you can't, Judy is more than happy to point out how harsh of a tone she's using as she reads the details of the case.
You're a moron. You are a moron. You are an example of why people should have to take tests before they're allowed to have children.
This is because the defendant apparently told her 6-year-old that her father may not actually be her father, before actually knowing the truth. Judy handles it with beauty, grace, and enough comments on the defendant's intelligence to make her feel 2 centimeters tall.
You're a moron! And you still don't even get it.
Oh, and of course, there's that iconic yell.
He was messing around first, Your Honor.
Who cares? He didn't become pregnant. As far as I know, that's not a possibility yet.
Number 9. Push. Look, we get it. It's embarrassing to be kicked out of the courtroom, especially if you're not the first, but the second person in your group to go.
Okay, sir, you can step in.
Because that shows that you just can't listen, and Judy has no time for the likes of you.
Well, I have to tell you something.
The defendant, not willing to let well enough alone, had the audacity to talk back to Judy on his way out, then turned to storm through the doors that wouldn't open for him.
Push.
Out.
Forget embarrassed, this is outright humiliation at this point. As he shrugs his shoulders to ask, how do I get out? You can hear him being told to push, not pull. Number 8. The fake case. There's always debate on whether or not the cases we see in any televised courtroom drama are real.
And as he was breaking one of the televisions, it fell on your cat and killed it.
Yes. Yes.
While the jury will always and forever be out on that one, we can say with utmost certainty that this particular case is an absolute work of fiction.
On what date was this gathering?
November 5th.
Keep your voice up, please, Miss Levitt.
Sorry, November 5th, 2009.
In an interview with Vice in 2014, it's revealed that the case about smashed TVs and the tragic death of a cat was made up purely for the settlement money and free trip to LA.
The only ones in the house? I thought you were there with 6 people.
No, they went to go rent a movie from the Red Box.
There was no fight and thankfully no dead cat. While it'll definitely make us question the validity of a case, the defendant did at least confirm that Judy is really that intimidating in real life. Number 7. It's not the same dressing. Customer service with a smile, extra dressing, and vandalism. The plaintiff in this case is the textbook definition of first world problems.
You couldn't eat the sandwich?
Not by that time, because we normally put the salad dressing on the sandwich, too. That's why we order extra for the salad and the sandwich.
You can understand being upset about part of your delivery missing, but to demand a full refund over dressing, 2 weeks later the plaintiff not only ordered again, but he snatched the food out of the driver's hand and slammed the door in his face, claiming he had a credit.
It was very immature of you.
Still, according to the law, that doesn't give the restaurant guys the right to vandalize his property in retaliation. It does give Judy the power of pettiness. The plaintiff wins, but he has to pay the money back from his last meal, a whole $12.
$229.23 less 12.
Number 6. Horse counterclaim. Judge Judy is pretty good about giving each side a chance to plead their case. But if there's one area where she really doesn't mess around, it's horse disputes.
Judgment's on the counterclaim for $1,400. We're done. Thank you.
Parties are excused.
As evidenced by the surprised expressions in the courtroom, Judy swoops in with a particularly swift dose of justice for Summer Ruger, who demanded the full payment from the plaintiff for one horse.
Oh my gosh.
The case, while bizarre enough on its own, is followed up by a soap opera-worthy reaction from the plaintiff, who just can't believe the injustice she's been handed. If her reaction is any indication, she'll think twice next time she tries to horse around with the law.
Sorry, whatever.
Number 5. Gasping woman. It goes without saying that defendants on Judge Judy will go to some pretty weird lengths to get their case heard. But for Davisha Thomas, it was actually a little hard to hear the case over her bizarre gasping.
Put it all on? Yes. Just put on your lipstick? A little lip gloss, a little eye stuff?
As a desperate attempt to plead ignorance to the fact that her car insurance had expired, the defendant answers multiple questions with an exaggerated gasp.
I had no idea he paid that much for that car.
Well, why didn't you just...
It's clearly not working on Judge Judy, who is adamant that Thomas simply did not act responsibly as a car owner. Despite the defendant's claim over who altercated the fight, Judge Judy simply wasn't buying it. Number 4. For mature audiences. We're not judging anyone for their chosen profession, and neither is Judy for that matter. You just might have to explain it to her.
We go into homes and hold parties for adults with lotions and potions and vibrators.
Such was the case when the plaintiff had to explain her adult novelty party business to Judy, who was able to connect the dots when told about the lotions and, more specifically, vibrators.
The bull whip, one of a set of 2 C-rings, 10 catalogs, making love oil, flavors strawberry and champagne.
This leads to the plaintiff listing off the names of every item that went missing, both Judy and her bailiff Bernard expressing various levels of huh, as if trying to figure out what everything is. Then the sex B-bomb is dropped. One of the items was returned used. Poor Judy.
The eager beaver, which appeared to be used, so that may have been used, but we would have appreciated that to have been cleaned up before she returned it to us.
Number 3. Tupperware assault. Judge Judy always looks like she's seen some things. That being said, there are times when the plaintiff says something so unbelievable that she, as they say, can't even.
She opened her Tupperware cupboard and forced all of her Tupperware on me like that.
When a plaintiff tells her that the defendant threw not just 1 or 2, but all of her Tupperware on her, not at her, Judy calmly says she didn't throw all of her Tupperware on you.
Pointing her finger in my face, how dare you, don't you even dare, shame on you, that's it, I want you out of here, and she hit my head.
Oh, ye of little faith, because the plaintiff not only insists that it happened, she gives a live demonstration, complete with aggressive voice acting, a lot of finger pointing, and scrunched up faces. At least the Tupperware wasn't full of food. Or that last lady's lotions. Number 2. Losers. If you haven't figured it out by now, some of the guests on Judge Judy aren't exactly what you'd call the sharpest tools in the shed. Case in point when our next defendant came to plead her case over an assault charge. Judge Judy quickly demands to know why they were swearing at the plaintiff.
What were you cursing at them for?
Because they're losers.
Her answer, while not only provoking a court-wide groan for butchering the word losers, actually demonstrates that she initiated the conflict with the defendant, securing Judge Judy's decision almost immediately.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $4,000. That's all. Step out.
Next time you want to accuse someone of assault, maybe make sure you're not actually the one who initiated it.
I don't think this is a fair justice.
Before we bang the gavel, let's hear the opening statement of this honorable mention.
Left and right.
Listen, I can't deal with you anymore, sir.
I can't
deal with you anymore, sir, because if you just kept your mouth shut 5 minutes ago.
Number 1. Venison will get you nowhere. When will people learn that you have to get permission before you take something from someone else, even if you supposedly take it all the time?
I just use it all the time, and she wasn't home, so I went over there to get the key and went, and the deer just jumped out in front of me.
In yet another case of I'm always able to borrow the thing, 2 sisters find themselves in court over damage done to a car.
What'd you do with it?
Ate it.
Is that true?
Yes, ma'am, and she even offered me some.
The defendant got into a wreck with her sister's car, crashing into a deer, but since she takes the car all the time, and has helped her sister sometimes, she thinks she should be in the clear. At least she was nice enough to offer some of the deer. Yeah, the deer she hit, with her sister's car. Yep, you're still gonna have to pay back that $1,300.
But I'm not having rigor mortis stew.
It did not have rigor mortis, so I went back.
That is just sick.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from Ms. Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.